Hi everyone, Sarah from Sarah Homfray Embroidery here. You may have noticed I'm not in the studio at the minute, so today's video is going to start in the car because I'm off on a little trip. So I'm a strong believer that embroidery should be accessible to everybody and that it shouldn't cost you a fortune to be able to do. So I'm going to go and find some affordable threads and I'm going to bring them back to the studio and try them and see if they're any good. So back in the studio, these are the threads that I bought yesterday. So they're by a company called Art Studio, which I have to confess I haven't heard of before. And there's a pack of 36 threads, bright embroidery floss, easy for me to say. And the bright is the colour range. There was a pastel range as well, and 8 metres in a skein. So these cost £3.99. So if you're one of our watchers from around the world, that's about €4.50. 5.5 US dollars, 7 Canadian dollars and 7.5 Australian dollars at the time of filming. So quite frankly, that's very good price, I think, for a set of 36 threads. Ginger Cat doesn't think that's a very good price, obviously. So quite frankly, that's quite a good price because that works out, I've done the maths, at 12 pence per skein. So that's very affordable and really good price for 36 skeins. So I've got some DMC and some Anchor threads here, and I'll show you these under the camera. So these are the threads you would probably find in a sewing shop, a haberdashery shop. These are good quality threads and branded, well-known branded names. So we've got a set of DMC here and a set of Anchor stranded. And these retail at £1.20 each. You can get them cheaper than that on the internet before everybody jumps in the comments and says that. But their retail price is £1.20. So that's about 10 times the price of this set here. So I'm very familiar with Anchor and DMC threads. I use them quite a lot. So before we try the new ones, I thought I would just talk through the properties of these ones and then we can compare them with the new threads. If you want to have a go at these threads yourself, I've got 3 packs here, 3 of the larger packs, 50 skeins in each pack, to give away to 3 of our lovely viewers. So if you want to get your hands on these and have a go yourself, then keep watching and I'll tell you how you can get those later on. So let's look at the Anchor and DMC thread. So this is the same kind of thread. It's a stranded embroidery cotton or floss, depending where you come from in the world. And they're just different makes. So DMC is a French make and Anchor is now owned by Crafts. And they are the same cotton, but I'll just describe how Anchor say that they make their threads. I'm going to read this quote from their website. So it says, they're made with an extra long staple, 100% Egyptian cotton embroidery thread, double mercerised, resulting in a brilliant lustre, unique softness and intense light reflection, which makes them sound good enough to be quite honest with you. DMC say the same thing. They don't mention Egyptian cotton, but otherwise the description is exactly the same. So I just want to mention the mercerisation process because I think that might be quite important. So it's a process that the thread goes through and it makes it stronger, it makes it easier to dye, so it takes the colours more easily, and it makes it shinier as well. And these threads go through that process twice, so I'm guessing twice of those things, which is what makes these really good quality threads. So they've got washing labels on these, so let's have a close look at those and see what it says about how you treat these threads. So these are the Anchor ones. Now I'm showing you 2 because the labels are slightly different. On the front, there's a white label on that one and a cream label on that one. And I'm guessing the white one is the newer of the 2 threads. So the first thing is the 95 in a little tub. If it's in a tub, it means you can wash it. As in a washing machine. That's quite hot temperature, 95. So pretty well you can embroider on some clothes and you can shove it in the washing machine. That's what that's saying. Come back to the triangle. So the little circle with the cross in it means don't tumble dry. The iron, it's got 3 dots in it, so you can iron it on quite a high setting. The P in a circle, it means you can dry clean it, and the P is tells the dry cleaner what chemical they can use to clean it with. I'm not going to pretend to know what the P stands for, I can't pronounce it, but it tells the dry cleaner what they need to use for that. And this has just got a little recycling thing on the package, which this one doesn't have. on it, and this just means the company do some recycling stuff. It doesn't mean they recycle these, it just means they partake in recycling schemes. Just to go back to the triangle with the little lines through it, I had to look long and hard for this, and it's about chlorine, and with the little lines through it, just going to check what that is non-chlorine bleach. I don't know why you'd want to bleach it. I guess if you stitched on a shirt and you've got grass stains on the shirt and you wanted to, I don't know quite, maybe somebody can tell me that, but that's what the little triangle means. And the older one, which I'm presuming it's older one, doesn't have that on it, so that's the difference between the two. So we'll just look at some DMC ones. So the DMC has the same, so they've also got their little recycling symbol on. 95, they've got a triangle as well with a CL in it, which I think is another version of the chlorine symbol. Iron setting only 2 dots, so medium setting for these ones. Again, the dry cleaners instructions, and this one, well, this is quite interesting. We've got 2 different ones here. This one you can tumble dry on a medium setting, and this one you can't. And they are... The labels look, well, they look slightly different. So they do vary a bit, I guess, as they improve their techniques, and the way that they make the production, the way they make these threads, you can do different things with them. So do just check the washing labels if you want to wash anything with these threads on. Now, as far as the difference between the 2 threads, you have to use them quite a lot to be able to feel any difference, I think. But personally, from experience, I think the Anchor are a little bit stronger than the DMC ones. They feel maybe not quite as soft as the DMC, which is probably what makes them stronger. And the DMC, I like the colours better, to be honest. So as far as I'm concerned, I think you can mix the 2. I think that's absolutely fine. It was going to take a real thread connoisseur to be able to tell the difference between a DMC and an Anchor once it's stitched. So I say take the best colours from both ranges and mix them together and use them both together. So let's get these ones out of the bag and see how they compare. Okay, so let's have a look at them all together. So they feel really soft actually, and I think that might be because they've got something synthetic in them. Now, I looked everywhere on the packet, on the label and on the website where these threads come from, and there's nothing to say what they're actually made of. And feeling them, they are beautifully soft, so I'm thinking it's a little bit like acrylic wool, how soft that feels. So I think they might have some acrylic in, or they might be completely acrylic, I'm not sure, but they do feel really lovely and soft. And I think for 36 colours, let's just... I haven't put them in a very appealing order, but there's quite a good range in there. There's 2 of that colour, or it might be a little bit different now I get it out the bag. So each colour is different. I think that's quite a good range, as you always nearly want lots of greens. I find greens and purples and pinks I use the most of, but it has got black and white in there as well, which can be really useful. So let's just have a look at the washing instructions, because it does have washing instructions on it. So again, they've got a little recycling symbol as well. 95 degrees you can wash at. It's got the dry clean instructions again, the P in the little circle. This one you can tumble dry on a medium setting, and you can iron as well on a medium setting. So that was the same as the DMC, I think. And then it's got this little chlorine symbol as well, the little CL in the triangle, which means I think you can use chlorine bleach on it. So more or less the same symbols there. So you could probably mix these with the Anchor and DMC as well and not be worried if you did need to wash your embroidery. I just want to mention quickly, I have mentioned washing quite a lot. I don't tend to wash my embroideries at all, but the only sort of occasion I think you probably would is if you're doing it on some clothing. That's when all these symbols and all this information is going to come into its own. But if you're just doing an embroidery to hang on the wall, don't worry about washing it. As long as you keep everything clean and it's nice and clean when you finish, don't worry about washing it. Now I just want to talk about one more thing. Now Anchor say on their website that they have a system called pull-free construction. It sounds very posh, but all it means is their threads are wrapped in a figure of 8. So that when you pull one end out, you can just pull out the exact length that Anchor say you need to stitch, and it doesn't get the skein all knotted up and it doesn't mess up the skein. So I do just want to see if these do the same thing. So let's grab one and pull it and have a look. So this is an Anchor one, and I want to just show you how that works. So there's a little end here on the top. Now it goes just under the label. You can see that there. And that one's on the top. It's not that end that you want to pull. If you pull that end, you scrunch the skein up and it gets in a knot. So you need to find the thread that's inside, and if it's a new skein, it's usually on the same side. So if you just turn it over and open up, that's right there, look. And this thread goes right into the middle. Hoping you can see that there. Into the middle of the skein, and that's the one that you want to pull. And that's with most threads that are wrapped like this. So even if it's not a stranded cotton, try your other threads this way too, and I think you'll find that that's the one. So hopefully when we pull this, there we go, we get a good length for stitching with, finger to the inside of your elbow, and you can cut that off and your skein is exactly as it was. So that's what they're calling their pull-free construction. So let's see if this other skein does that as well. So this has only got one label on it. Sometimes the 2 labels can help just to keep it tidy. So there's an end there which is coming from the middle of the skein. Can't even see. There's the other end which is on top. So that's boding well. So let's try this one from the middle. And it does pull-free construction, which it should do really. They should all be wound in a figure of 8. It should work the same way, but it's just interesting to see that, because I think you should keep your thread in the skein rather than wrapping them or storing them any other way. So it's good to know that you can do that with these threads as well. So the only thing left to do, I think, is to try and stitch with them and see what they actually stitch like. So I've made a little design. It's this one here, and this is a free PDF. If you want to have a go at this design as well, you can. We'll put that on the website, and I'll put a link to that PDF in the description below this video, so do go and check that out. And this is the design that I'm going to do here. So I've done one half in Anchor and DMC thread. There's a mix of both in there, and I'm going to work this half in the new threads. So I'm going to find some colours that match. So these are the colours that I've already used. I'm going to find these colours in the new set and work the other side in those new colours. So let's see what they look like and how they compare. So I've chosen my colours here, and I just want to talk briefly about this because there are no colour identification numbers on these threads at all, whereas the Anchor and the DMC, you get this number here which tells you exactly the colour it is and the tone of the colour that it is, and if you want to get it again you can basically. So you can go in the shop and you can buy these individually off a rack usually, but these ones you can't. They come in the packs only, and there's nothing to say what colour they are. So although there's a nice choice in the pack, there's only 36 in the pack, whereas this one, Anchor and DMC, do a range of about 500 threads each, 500 colours each. So that's a massive choice of colours. So lots of choice of colours in this, not a lot of choice of colours in this. So what I want to do is just try out some different things with this thread. So this is all stem stitch and outline stitch, but in different numbers of strands, because I want to try different numbers and see how they work. So we've got 3 strands down the middle, we've got 2 here and 4 for the French knots. I'm also going to do a little bit of laid work in the heart shape here to see what it looks like in longer stitches. And I'm going to start down here and this area first with some dark green. So this is the green I'm going to use. Now we know that this system works. So the thread in the middle, which I think is that one, pull it out. Perfect, we like that. So, oops, I'm not fingertip to elbow. Don't you dare put that in. Oh. Do that again, Johnny. So I'm going to start with this green thread here. So we know from previously that it's that thread in the middle, so it's that one there. So if I pull that one, get a length of thread, so that works. Let's cut that off. Now I don't even know, in fact, how many strands are in this because it doesn't say on the label. So the DMC and the Anchor have 6 strands. I'm going to separate these out, and these have 6 strands as well, so that's good. Now to strand, I'm just going to pull one from the end, pull it straight up. How many do we want? We want 3, so separate them out. 1, 2, 3. That means they don't get all knotted. Put them back together. Let's try this needle. They do feel nice and soft. Let's try a bigger needle. See what I'm doing. Do feel really lovely and soft. So I'm going to start at the bottom. I'm going to come up around here. So do my starting stitch as normal. Going to work a stem stitch. Now this design is stem stitch and outline stitch. If you want to know what the difference is, we do have a video on that, and we'll put that up in the corner here, because there is a difference. It's a subtle difference, but there is a difference, so worth knowing what that is. So we're going to stem stitch. Now I'm using several strands together here, so this is quite telling on how good a thread is as to how these strands work together. So I've taken them apart and put them back together because I only want 3 strands. And if it's not very good, it tends to get in a bit of a knot, so we'll just see how it feels. It's a little bit fluffier, I can tell already, than the other ones. Let's cut that knot off. I think because it's softer, so it is a little bit fluffier. So I'm just going to work my way around this shape. And because I handle these threads a lot, it's quite easy for me to tell the difference between them quite quickly. So I've stitched around this green area in the 3 strands, and now I'm going to do 2 strands of the purple. So I've changed my needle down a size, but it's still threaded really nicely. And I didn't have any problem coming around here, no knots or anything like that. It can get twisted up the thread when you do the same stitch, but it didn't do that. So it was really nice to work with actually. So let's see how 2 strands goes around this smaller area. I'm using the same stitch again. Don't forget, if you want to have a go at this design, we've got it for free from the website, so the link's in the description below. Yes, it is fluffing up a tiny bit, so maybe a larger needle would help with that. It's just pulling a little bit when it goes through the fabric, but we'll keep going with this needle and just see what happens with the thread. And I'm pretty sure it is an acrylic thread, so it is going to take wear and tear quite well, actually. So probably a good one to learn with if you're a beginner. This is probably going to be a really good thread for you. So just nice small stitches around here. Okay, so we've got to the other side. We finished that little bit. It is looking thicker than this one. It's the same number of strands as the other side, but it does look a bit thicker. But it's nice and neat. It's not got knotted at all. So I'm quite impressed so far. So I'm going to do a little bit more now, and then we'll get to the French knots, because that will be the real test of the thread, because it gets twisted around a lot. So we'll get to French knots and have a look at those. So if you'd like to win one of these free packs, and there's 50 skeins in each pack, all you need to do is to leave a comment below this video with the words free thread pack. So this video is uploaded on Friday the 24th of September 2021, and we will draw the 3 winners on Friday the 1st of October 2021. So if you're one of the lucky winners, we will leave you a message in your YouTube discussion tab. If you've got an email attached to that, we will send you an email also. And once you've let us know where you are in the world, we'll send your threads out to you for free. So good luck, everybody. So I finished stitching up to here now. So we've tried 3 strands. We've tried 2 strands in these here. So we're going to try 4 strands now in some French knots. So French knots are always a good test of how good a thread is. So let's have a go at a few here. So come up over the needle. I'm just going to do 1 wrap on these. Let's not make it too complicated. So far so good. So that one's come out quite nicely. So I'm just going to loosen my wrap a little bit. And it is quite a nice smooth thread this, so I don't anticipate any problems with these. Yeah, they're coming out really nicely. If the thread's a bit rough, or it can get caught up and the knot can get knotted before you want a knot, so these are coming in quite nicely. So we'll do a few more up here. Now they are coming out much bigger than the other ones, as is all of these threads. So if you were to switch threads, that would be something to have to think about. If you wanted to mix your threads together, you wanted to mix these threads with some Anchor or some DMC threads, that 3 strands of this thread is not the same as 3 strands of another thread. So something just to bear in mind. Do these up there, I think, for a bit of variation. Okay, so quite happy, so easy to work. They do come out bigger, but they come out nice and smoothly, so no problems with working those at all. So I'm going to go around this petal and go up this stem, and then we'll have a look at this heart and see how that comes out. So I'm going to stitch my heart in this light pink colour. I'm going to use 4 strands for this, and this is a good test to see what they look like when they lie next together, because these are going to be quite long stitches here. So let's see how this works. Just start my thread right in the middle, so I'm going to stitch right over the middle of this heart, so I'll just put my 2 starting stitches slap bang in the middle, and I'm going to come up just on that line, just to the inside of it, and do a stitch straight across. So you can see how long these stitches are now, and because this is laid work, what happens is we come up on the same side and we go back down on the other side. So we don't get a thread going all the way around the back, it all stays on the top. And you can see what the thread looks like. And it's lying next to each other. So this is quite a good test to see how good this thread is. So it's looking pretty nice actually. Nice to stitch with. Looking nice and smooth. Because it's a little bit fluffy, it's filling out a bit more and there's no gaps, so that's quite good. I'm liking that. If you can get your materials to help you, it's always a bonus. So one more stitch in the bottom. I am going to go round this heart in another stitch with the purple, although the edge looks pretty nice actually. So that went in really quickly and looks really nice. So just going to go around the edge and then we'll come back and have a talk about these threads. So I've just finished off around the heart. I've gone around this in the purple, so 3 strands of the purple. So let's just see what they look like together. So I'm quite pleased with that, how that's come out. I thought the 2 sides would look quite different and it was going to look obviously like 2 different threads, but I don't think it does really. So what do I like about these threads? So the first thing I like is how soft they are. Really lovely to feel, really lovely to work with. They've got beautiful vibrant colours as well. These colours are really pop. Really stand out, lovely colours, and at that price you can't beat them for value. Absolutely fabulous price for that amount of threads. Okay, so what don't I like about them? They are a little bit fluffy. It can be good because that can fill out your stitches, but if you were mixing them with your other threads, they're not going to look the same, so the stitches do come out bigger on this side than they are on this side. So if you wanted to use them together, that would be something to think about. I also found when I needed to thread the needle again, if it had come off the needle, the end went quite fluffy and it was a bit harder to thread the needle, so I needed to cut the end off and do that again. They're not made from cotton, I'm pretty sure of that, pretty sure they're synthetic fibres, and if you're a purist you might mind that. You might not, but they aren't made of cotton. The other thing is there's not many colours to choose from. You get quite a lot in a pack, but if you wanted to choose the colours exactly to suit a project you were making, there's obviously a huge colour range in the Anchor and DMC that there isn't in this, so that might be a bit of a deal breaker. So are they any good or not? I really like them. I loved working with these, actually really enjoyed stitching with these, so I would give them a big thumbs up. But if you've tried these threads and you think differently, or you've had another experience with a different kind of thread, do let us know in the comments below. Let everyone else know as well. We're really interested to know your thoughts on this as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and found it useful and inspired to have a go with some different kinds of thread. Do give us a thumbs up if you have. Don't forget all the other videos that we've got for you to see, and we'll see you next time.